Hello, everybody. I would like to welcome you to the third Artist Talk here at Eat Art Space. And I am especially privileged to welcome local poet Larry D. Thacker to this wonderful event. I am waving at Larry, and I am going to see if I can get him to join us. It says he's unable to join. Oh, Larry, let's see. Let me figure this out here. It looks like I cannot click on you. Hey! Well, I am going to work through some of these technical things here. I'm going to pop you up again. It says that you're unable to join. I would love to figure this out. Are you here via a phone? Are you here via the internet? It just says unable to join. And I can't welcome you into this. This is super sad. Not quite what I had planned. Are you able to see and hear me, Larry? Internet via laptop. I think you might need to do this via a phone. Are you willing to hop on via phone? You can see the other works behind me. Okay, Larry will probably join us a little bit via phone. I can start talking about the cyanotype process. So these pieces behind me are part of what make up Chemical Flight, which is my new series of cyanotypes that were photographed mid-chemical transformation, and then they were printed on metal. So as I move, you can see they're a little bit shiny, and I'm going to flip the camera around so that everybody can see. Pushy buttons. So here we go. There they are in all their glory. And when I move a little bit to the left, you can see that the light is reflecting off of them. And there are 16 pieces. Each of them are numbered, and each of them are just at a slightly different stage of development. All of these pieces are from my feather series, although this one is from cicada feathers. Oh, wonderful! It looks like Larry is able to join us, and I will take a moment here to just pan through Chemical Flight for a minute before I introduce local poet Larry D. Thacker. Some of these prints have already sold, and some of them can still be yours. So I'm going to back it up here and flip it around and say hello to Larry. We're having a little bit of, I want to welcome him in. Here we go. So Larry is a local poet. He himself is an artist. And he's also a veteran, and he lives in Johnson City. And he has a few poems to share this evening. Hi, Larry.
Hello.
How are
Thank
you?
you for having me.
Oh my gosh, no, this is an absolute joy. I'm sorry that apparently you can't join live Instagram via laptop. Who knew?
Who knew?
New things that we learn every day.
That's right.
So give me your 1 or 2 sentence spiel on who you are, how long you've been here. You have over 170 published poems. Is that correct? Or is it more now?
Yeah,
I don't know.
well, that's publications where work's been in
has
magazines
appeared.
and journals, that kind of thing. So I've been lucky, and I've loved being able to write and get work out there to share, and be able to share others' work, other people who are writing, and
Yeah.
writing's my life. So when you can do what you love, case in point tonight with your work, then your soul is happy.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I don't know how familiar you are with the process that I do, but I can do a really quick demonstration if you would like to see it real quick.
Yeah, I know it's solar powered. I know that much. I know it's like
it is.
From the sun.
So this is the final product. This is the final product. It's a contact print. So I actually, I have a huge collection of feathers that I have gathered over the years. And each of these individual prints is me literally laying the feathers down on the surface of the paper, and then these bake in the sun. Now, what's painted on the paper is is an emulsion. It's not a dye. It's a photographic emulsion. And when you put it in the water, it does funny things, which is what I photographed here and then put on metal prints. So it looks a little different every single time you do it. And earlier today, in the rain, I was trying to expose some prints so I could demo. They don't like to sit undeveloped for a while. They will disappear. So I actually put together, I mean, they look basically totally dark now. Like they look like nothing. But right, they'll turn into this in a minute. So I have a little tray of water here, and I'm going to flip it down here. And some artists may be familiar with this. You can watch it transform in the water as it goes. So you can see that it, I mean, and this is actually kind of old chemistry, and I left it out and it was raining and all kinds of things went wrong with it. So it's kind of a miracle that it's actually showing up. Thank goodness. So it takes a couple of minutes to actually develop, but then, you know, eventually the part that was blocked will wash completely away. And sometimes I can actually accelerate the process. And again, other artists will know exactly what I'm doing. But I've got this.
Now, if you shake it like a Polaroid picture, does that help?
No, it does nothing. But you can see I sprayed it with hydrogen peroxide to accelerate the oxidation process, and that is what eventually happens.
You're
sort
just
of
sciencing the heck out of that, aren't you?
Well,
That's
I get a kick out of, you know, making messes and things. So
no, that's so hands-on,
and then making the messes super pretty in the end. So there we go.
Yeah, and they're so ghostly. I love that aspect to it.
Well, and they're so different from what the final result looks like. And you can take these prints and like dip them in tea and do other things to them, but they don't get stuck like that, which is kind of the place that I wish I could freeze them. So anyway, but enough preamble. It's time for some poetry. Do you have one that you can share with us?
Sure. And I picked a few. Since you work a lot with feathers, I went through and found a couple that I thought would, in one way or the other, thread in to the work, either by with the either color or with feathers. So
or the feeling,
yeah, the emotional connection. And so the first one's called Seen, Then Unseen.
Okay, I'm going to pan around the gallery while you start talking.
All right. Yeah, this is great. This is
it's like performance art. Here we go.
Exactly. Seen, then unseen. Before Hurricane Matthew, I was wondering where birds go exactly during normally bad storms here in town, far from the coastline, where trees still can blow sideways and nests just don't seem enough. I feared such a cycle of wonder was inescapable, like getting swept up in the northern loop of a hurricane's eye wall. I'd watched a bird up in a storm's toss, fighting its best to glide against a headwind, forced to dive when it fatigued, wings almost buckling, thrown down beyond my sight a block over, helpless in this simple summer storm. Where do birds by the millions retreat or hide when a colossus comes rearing out of the sea and rolls the shores up over 4 states, pelting its reach inland for hundreds of miles? I've been at the shore during storms, gulls and pelicans and dune crows toughing it out in the winds, seemingly born in the violence, immune to the danger, evolved in the sea's rage. Or might we not see the many lost, sunk to the bottoms of rivers and lakes, or out to sea, made more a share of the mystery, hidden low, dark from the winds and questions?
Thank you so much. Everybody has to snap and clap right now. Is that how it goes? Yeah, I only have one hand, so there we
Golf
go.
clap. Golf.
Golf clap, or like, I don't know, smack myself in the face a couple times. That might work. Thank you so much for that. I would love to briefly give a shout out to my my food feature, if I may. Have you ever eaten at Scratch Pizza? I mean, that feels kind of like a dumb question for someone who's
Wood,
lived in Johnson City this long.
yeah. Wood-fired pizza is fabulous.
It is absolutely magical. Um,
I
my
like the trust.
Yes, that's what actually I did tonight. I did the trust, and people who have never eaten here don't understand this. But
Yeah, yeah.
I told them tonight. I was like, I want a gluten-free, cheeseless wonder, but full trust. So, and this is what they gave me. Oh,
Oh my goodness,
I
look
mean,
at that.
it's like you just under. I mean, I don't have to add anything to that. It's gorgeous.
Mushrooms, and
So,
you'll have some tomorrow for breakfast.
no, I'm eating the whole thing. You kidding?
I,
They're
I love
small.
cold pizza for breakfast. Cold pizza for breakfast is a delicacy.
Yeah, it absolutely is, but it doesn't last in my house. I got 3 pizzas tonight, and the family already absconded with the others, so
Oh, there we go.
they're gone. I did take pictures though, so I can show them off. But anyway, no, everybody has to eat at Scratch at some point in their lives, and that's the first place I take people when I bring them to Johnson City. So, although I do miss being able to put records on, so hopefully we'll be able to do that again soon. But and now for another poem. If we
Uh,
can have one more, because I have some more panning to do.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a couple, but
All right, let's do this.
um, this one I wrote for this event.
Okay, so I'm gonna focus on the chemical flight here.
Yeah, this one's called Ghost Flight.
Thank you, Larry.
All right. Ghost Flight. A crow feather rests on a town sidewalk. 1,000 hurried feet pass, splashing puddles in another spring storm. So light, once the air barely noticed it. Now it soaks in a foreign weightiness as the sun vanishes. All evening, all night. Blankets down with warm morning fog. Nearly dries as crawling sunlight passes over. Stays, decays ever so gently. Withers darkness to grays. Rainbow iridescence exhaling. Then gone. Wind lifts what's left just so, mostly quill, like a stripped limb. The humming, inky ghost remains, like rustiness of leaf stain, the thought of a thing only. A feather once, yes, an outline, hued mostly between the lines now, waiting for the next hint of coming rain.
Thank you.
Thank
Tap,
you.
tap, 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 tap. I can't snap loudly enough. I need to snap it right next to the microphone, right here. So, thank you for writing that for this event. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. This is wonderful.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you started writing and how long you've been at it?
I started I started writing in a way where I felt compelled to write. Um, Probably a little bit after I got out of undergraduate school, which was back in 1900. Actually, that was the early 90s. Um, but I was given the opportunity to write a folklore column of all things. As a young man, I was just out of college and had a fascination with folklore, which years later ended up being my first book, which is Mountain Mysteries: The Mystic Traditions of Appalachia.
Is this a particular type of folklore?
Appalachian,
Okay.
mountain folklore,
Okay.
and almost every topic you can imagine. And then I went to the Army in 1993, got out in 98. And then a couple of years after that, I had put it all together, and the book was born. Um, and then I fell in love with poetry and in fiction, and it was just a serious side hobby for years. While I was a higher education bureaucrat for 15 years, and that was before I came to Johnson City. But once
Okay.
I got out of that about 5 or 6 years ago, I came to Johnson City and went and started writing full time. So everything you
Okay.
see me doing now as a job is only secondary to be able to write full time. And I went back to school again and got an MFA in creative writing and poetry and fiction. And so now this is what I do with most of my time. The
All right.
vintage stuff and anything else that I'm doing to make a dollar is just to feed my obsession with writing. See,
Sounds kind of like me.
not the star.
My house is just really a house where I live, and then I do this, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. Know the feeling.
well, do you have any particular questions for me about what you see? Now that you actually get to see things like as they're situated behind me. I don't know if
Is it? It seems
and
like
people who are watching can comment too. I don't want I let's open it up.
there's Laura. Hey, Laura.
Yeah, there's
Um,
Laura.
yeah. Talk about another artist. She's something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it
Life
seems like
goals.
blues and sepias tend to be the colors that you end up with. Is that kind of the limit of the hues,
It
or
it
do you can?
is. It is. It's sort of built into the chemistry because the two chemicals that are used are called ferric ammonium citrate and potassium ferrocyanide, which sounds really
Easy for you to
scary.
say.
Yeah, it sounds really scary, but it's not that scary. It's not as scary as some other things in photography. So
Unless you
the
drink it.
right, unless don't drink it, don't drink it. So the could go so crazy. Anyway, so the cyanide in the chemistry is that Prussian blue that people are familiar with. It's like it's related to that pigment. So the pigment that you end up with on the paper is related to that like painter's pigment, but it actually there's like a chemical equation that creates it when it's um, exposed to ultraviolet rays. So like I said, I can photograph the process and sort of freeze it that way, or I can manipulate it. I actually, Linda Clark Johnson, who is watching right now, she does amazing stuff with wet cyanotype, where she like adds turmeric and salt and other
Oh,
things to it to like just give it other textures and do crazy things. So there's a lot you can do with it, but you do kind of start with that chemistry. And I've toned it using tea, I've toned it using
uh,
coffee and borax, and it all does different things. But I mean, blue is kind of everybody's favorite.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and we can check on this little guy down here. See, it's been sitting in
Oh,
the
sure.
water, and
Look,
now
there's
it's
a lot
done.
of detail.
Well,
A
I
lot of
don't know. This,
detail.
like I said, this is older chemistry that we had a. I don't know if you had that momentary thunderstorm in town, but
Yeah, oh, yes.
yeah, it dumped on us, man. So this is what you know, the shadow of what it is, and these have been sitting out for a while, but I mean, it like turns this weird greenish color, and it just goes. It's like a shadow, and then all of a sudden it emerges, and I could just watch this over and over again, which is why I obsessively end up with all these prints all over the place.
Yeah, it's like never the
So,
same thing twice.
no, it never is. And then as I've delved into all these different feathers, I've learned like which ones look like ghosts and which ones will leave more of an outline. And, ooh, if I rough it up this way, it'll make this little line here. And then, of course, it's really sort of OCD wonderful to arrange them in stacks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot out of trying to arrange them by size or I don't know. I like bringing the order to the chaos of these are all just in piles, in a giant pile in my collection. So,
Well, I've always enjoyed your planet ones too. The ones
oh yeah.
that those I think those were some of the first ones when I was first introduced to your work.
Yeah, that
I
was my that's my star obsession. I think that started because we were just flying by Pluto and we got the first images of Pluto back and I was just like, "Oh, I love this so much." And so then I had to do all the planets because you couldn't previously do Pluto. So, had to like now we've got them all.
Yep, yep.
Time to do a thing, I guess. So, yeah, the natural world is, of course, always a wonderful inspiration for all kinds of things. But I think we have time for one last poem. Can I introduce another poem from Larry D. Thacker, ladies
One
and gentlemen,
more. I'll give a
and
little bit,
folks?
just a little bit of background. If you're
Okay.
familiar in Appalachia, there's this phenomenon in down pillows. Over the course of the years of sleeping on a down pillow, where your head rests the most and where your head works on a pillow, the feathers work themselves into little nests. And
What? I did not
yes,
know this.
yes, and they're called crowns, feather crowns,
Oh,
and
cool.
for a long time, and still people collect them. And a lot of times people would collect them when someone died. And there was a lot of folklore associated with these feather crowns and with death and with
So it's kind of
keeping
like
them.
almost like hair braids.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. What?
yes, yes. And so feathers, yeah, and they
Okay.
get really densely collected, and so people collected them. And this was Granny Smith's from so and so year. So this is what this is about.
So did these? So this is that phenomenon.
Yes,
Okay. I'm
this is
very excited, and I'm gonna go around the gallery again.
there you go. All right.
Here we go.
Box box of crowns. We found a closet full of down pillows for the estate sale as we prowled the home. 7 of the old blue striped sort stacked upon one another on the high shelves, pressed to the ceiling out of the way. There were names in cursive script on the glassed cotton, in dark pen, all in the same hand. Name, date of death. The oldest from 1903, the last 1981, with a name scratched out in a different hand. A hat box from Macy's rested at head level, labeled Mullins family. Held no fancy hat from a New York trip, but soft layers of wax paper wrapped feather crowns extracted from each death pillow, tightly nested feathers, again labeled with names and dates, gently with pencil. The old mountain family believed the strange swirls were woven up in pillows at those very instants of death, as loved ones finally quit tossing and turning. The box could have easily been mistaken for an abandoned collection of trial and error, never used nests by birds, particular plumages found in families' pillowcases, little homes newly made, eggs freshly laid, some nightly tossed heads of the living offering a rocking warmth, an odd hatching, the little birds then, in the mostly dark, commencing with the work that only comes naturally when surrounded by the twisted and confusing lingering of ailing kin.
Mm, more snapping. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for that, and thank you for that little like Appalachian folklore lesson. That's very illuminating and magical in its own way.
Yeah, yeah.
This has been a pure delight. Allow me to share the last little cyanotype demonstration. And um, Here it is. See? Da, da,
Oh,
da,
there it is.
da.
Oh, so quickly.
Yeah, they are very satisfying to execute. Although, these are my goof prints. I call them my goof prints because they're just, experiments and tests and demonstrations and stuff.
Well,
So,
in writing, we would call those little found poems.
hmm, okay.
Found little found items, little things that you find out, and then that cause you to want to write about it,
Yeah.
or that you hold on to, that you use as prompts for writing. And so that's what you're getting there as you collect feathers. They're like little found poems that you put on that
They
you think back.
are. They are. I sort of feel like that's how a lot of creative work seems to work, I think, where you spend a long time collecting and thinking, and then you go back to look at it. You have to be intentional to go back and look at it, otherwise it's just junk. But
Yeah. It's in a
and then
drawer.
but if you never open the drawer, you don't know what you can make with it. So I so appreciate you being able to share these things with us, and I wish that there was a Facebook Live version of being able to do this. Um, Maybe someday they'll be able to do that because everyone who's on Facebook is going to miss out on this, which is why I posted the a few of the poems that you wanted to share on the
Thank you.
current exhibit page, and you can find Larry Thacker's work where?
At On my website, www.larrydthacker.com.
Okay, and I know that that website link is on the exhibit page. So if you are interested in some beautiful writing, I know that you have several collected works that are available through different publishers.
That's
All
right.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. And everything here in this room, whoa, is available through next Thursday. And I hope that people snag some of these big beauties because I'm doing an experiment where these ones, these big blues, are pay what you want. So just make a little donation to my dining room gallery and grab one of these for some, for your walls. And then these guys are super fancy and they're under a different thing. But you can buy the whole set too. Ha ha. So that's what's up with this. And I'm going to hop onto Facebook and give everybody there a tour of the gallery. But it's been an honor and a pleasure, and thank you for reading such moving words to us this evening.
Thanks for having me, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Larry. Well, I'll see you around the internet and around town.
That's right.
Bye for
Hey,
now.
bye bye.